the news came to Ravana. He couldn't believe it. That 80,000 Rakshasas killed by a monkey? This is very serious. So he called one of his most empowered generals, whose name was Jambumali. Jambumali boarded a chariot and he attacked. He was a very good fighter. But Ravana just took that iron rod and smashed him to death. Jambumali's dead. Ravana was very, very disturbed. He sent 7 other powerful generals of his army, all with mystical powers, brahmastras, everything. They came attacking Ravana, trying to shower. They came attacking Hanuman, showering his body with bows, with arrows from their wicked bows. And Hanuman, with his hands, I think there were 7. I think 5 of them he just smashed with his hands, and the other 2 he kicked with his feet. And they all died. Then Ravana sent 5 other leaders of his army. And Hanuman punched to death a few of them. Then he picked up a mountain and crushed the rest of them. Then thousands of other soldiers came. And within minutes, Hanuman wiped them all out. Ravana was becoming very, very upset. He called for his own son, Prince Aksha, one of the most powerful warriors in the universe. And he boarded this magnificent chariot led by celestial horses, armed with with Rakshasa mystical weapons. And this was a really good fight. He covered Hanuman's body with arrows. And everywhere Hanuman was going, he kept shooting him and shooting him and shooting him. And ultimately, Hanuman felt, I can't play with this Rakshasa any longer. He's too powerful. So Hanuman grabbed the son of Ravana by the legs with his hand and whirled him around in the sky. This is all happening in the sky. Then he came down, then he flew to the ground, and he just whacked him on the ground till he was dead. Ravana's heart was broken. His own son is dead. That's when he sent his eldest, most powerful son, Indrajit. Indrajit on his mighty chariot with all opulence. It was a really good fight. No matter how much Indrajit was shooting arrows, astras, throwing javelins, or Hanuman was in the sky dodging every one of them. And also, it was very hard for Hanuman to hit Indrajit because he was such a good fighter. They were fighting for quite a long time. And ultimately, Indrajit took his most powerful weapon, a Brahmastra, empowered by Lord Brahma, and shot it at Hanuman after chanting mantras. That Brahmastra bound Hanuman and hurled him to the ground. Hanuman realized that I have just been knocked down by a Brahmastra. But he had a benediction from Brahma that even a Brahmastra could not have effect for more than a few minutes on him. So he was thinking, I will take this opportunity to meet Ravana face to face and tell him what I think. So as he was laying there, the Rakshasas bound him with ropes and dragged him to Ravana's court. Ravana had one of his ministers, Prahasta, ask Hanuman, who are you and what kind of havoc nonsense are you doing? He said, I am Hanuman, the minister of Sugriva, who was the ally of Ram. And then he looked at Ravana. He said, Ravana, you could live peacefully for the rest of your life in Sri Lanka with all of your subjects and all of your armies and all of your wealth if you give Sita back to Ram. If you don't, you saw what havoc I have done. I'm just one out of tens and millions of monkeys. Headed by Ram and Lakshman, who will be coming to destroy you. You wicked Rakshasa, coward, you stole Sita away. Afraid to face Ram face to face, but he is coming. So I beseech you, I beseech you, please, return Sita, and Ram will forgive you. Ravana was outraged. He screamed, kill that monkey. And that is when Vibhishan came forward. According to Kshatriya code, you can never kill a messenger, even of the enemy. You can punish him, but you cannot kill him. Ravana said, but he destroyed my garden. He destroyed so many of my armies. He just killed my own son. It's not just a messenger. Hanuman said, well, as far as destroying the garden, I'm a monkey. What do you expect? I have to do those things. And as far as killing your son and all your soldiers, that was self-defense. They attacked me. I was just playing in your garden. Vibhishan said, according to the laws of Kshatriya conduct, you cannot kill the messenger of an enemy. Ravan did not like Vibhishan's advice, but he knew Vibhishan was very wise, that almost anything Vibhishan ever said of what would happen in the future always came true. So he said, all right, bind up this monkey. And monkeys are proud of their tails. Set his tail ablaze with fire. And then drag him through the streets to utterly humiliate him and mutilate him. And if he dies, no problem. And if he lives, he'll be mutilated, injured, and let him go back in humiliation. So they took large quantities of cloth and soaked it in oil and wrapped it around Hanumanji's tail. They had big, thick ropes around his waist. Not only his waist, his arms were also, his whole body was covered with ropes with his arms stuck, bound to his body. And they took him, and Hanuman grew, but still he was bound, but he grew and grew and grew. Hanuman gave one last message to Ravana, just see what I will do. And they dragged him out into the streets, and they started dragging him, beating him with ropes. His tail on fire. But Hanumanji, by his powers, became very small. Very small. And he slipped right out from the ropes and jumped onto a roof. And the whole building set on fire. And he jumped to the next building. It touched it with his tail. It blazed with fire. And the next building, and the next building. Vibhishan's wife was a great devotee. She was the only one in all of Sri Lanka that was Sita's well-wisher and friend. She told Sita what was happening. And Sita Devi prayed to Agni, the fire god, that please be very cool and refreshing to Hanuman's tail. Let that fire be cool and refreshing. So as Hanuman's just jumping from building to building, over half of Sri Lanka was blazing on fire. and he felt his tail, very soothing. And he was thinking, because I am doing the service of Lord Ram, Sita must be praying for me. He could understand properly. He was creating such havoc. Buildings were burning. And because so many buildings were burning and there was so much gold in the buildings, it was like rivulets of gold, melted gold, pouring down the streets, like with thousands and thousands of precious jewels floating in it. And Rakshasas, their bodies blazing on fire, were jumping from the tops of the buildings, jumping from the windows of the buildings to their death. Hanumanji ultimately went to one particular mountain and just looked and saw the havoc he was creating. Everybody was screaming in anxiety. Nobody could even go after Hanuman. Everyone was just trying to salvage their own lives. Most of Sri Lanka was burning. But Agni Dev would not touch Ravana's palace because he was afraid of Ravana. Then Hanuman was thinking, most of the city's burning. I may have burned Sita. I was so hasty to teach Ravana a good lesson. Due to my anger, I lost my intelligence. Sita could be burning in this fire. But then from the sky, the denizens of the heavens spoke to Hanuman and said, you have done good work in burning the city of Ravana, and Sita is safe and protected. Hanuman was assured. And he put his tail out and then went to a particular mountain on the northern side of Lanka, the Arista mountain, and he jumped back across the ocean. Soaring through the airways, Hanuman was so happy. He was ecstatic. He had performed the will of the Lord. He pacified Sita and gave hope to her heart. And as he was coming closer to Rameshwaram area, he saw all of his monkey soldier colleagues waiting for him. And when they saw Hanuman, I guess, landing, they were in such anticipation. He came down and embraced them and told them the whole story. They were joyful, joyful, joyful. Let us go back to Kishkinda Kshetra and tell Ram. So all of them together with Sugriva and Angada and Hanuman in the front, they were all cheering, Jai Ram, Jai Ram. And on the outskirts of Kishkinda is the Madhuban forest. That's the favorite part of the kingdom for Sugriva, because there's luscious fruits and trees with enormous quantities of honey and honeycombs, like nectar. So they were so happy that they had done the will of Ram. They went into that forest and were drinking all the honey and eating all the fruits, and they were just so dancing and ripping the trees down. And there were guards. Sugriva's guards saw them. They didn't know what to do. The head of the guards was Dadi Mukha. He sent his soldiers to fight against Angada and Hanuman. And you know what happened to them? Angada beat up Dadimukha, and all the soldiers were getting beat up. So Dadimukha ran to Sugriva and said, you know what they're doing? Hanuman and Angada, they're ruining your whole garden. They're just intoxicated with joy. And Sugriva heard that. He was in ecstasy. He says, that means they must be celebrating the fulfillment of Ram's command. He said, bring them here immediately. So Dadimukha went there and apologized. Angada said, it's all right. They told the whole story to Sugriva, and they all went to meet Ramchandra at Prashravana. Hanuman presented the jewel to Ram. Tears streamed down from his lotus-like eyes as he placed that jewel to his forehead. And seeing it, it was as if he was reunited with Sita. Hanuman told the story of the crow on the rock in Chitrakoot, and how he had delivered the ring to Sita. Angada then described all the details to Ram about Hanuman's pastimes in Sri Lanka. Lord Sri Ramchandra was so overcome with gratitude to Hanuman for his devotion, for his total surrender and love. Ramchandra said, I'm living in the forest, I have nothing. I am so unlimitedly grateful to you, but I have no way to repay you. The only thing I have to give you, to reciprocate with all you've done, is my embrace. Then Lord Ramchandra, with tears of love for his devotee in his eyes, embraced Hanuman. And for Hanuman, he had no attraction for all the wealth of Ravana's kingdom. But he received the ultimate supreme treasure of all treasures in the embrace of his beloved Lord, Sri Ramchandra. Shri Hanumanji ki jai. It is getting late, so I think we should end here. Thank you very much.